Welcome to day 634 of our Web3 journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian. And remember, these videos are sponsored by NFT Tech. They're an investor in Deso. So, Brian, over the last 48 hours or so, we've been seeing a ton of block mining issues on Deso. This isn't a new issue. We've been seeing it over the last several months, but the last 48 hours has been really, really bad. There's It's been an ongoing issue, like I said. Uh, but there have been multiple hours between blocks, and this has been a reoccurring incident over the past couple of days. And over again, these blocks from the mempool have just not been being mined. And this is causing a loss of a lot of transactions. I'm not just talking about dozens of transactions, talking about thousands of transactions. Uh, so there's been a lot of frustration from the community as we haven't really heard any news on it from the core team. Nodes have been left in the dark. Uh, you know, we've heard Natter put out some information a few days ago and said that, once we get proof of stake, this issue shouldn't be as much of an issue, because instead of being 5 minutes between blocks, it's going to be 3 seconds between blocks, and that's going to prevent the nodes from getting out of whack. And it's when the nodes have transactions that don't match up, that they don't agree upon, that's when these issues take place. But the frustration's definitely building, and the lack of communication from the core team has a lot of people and a lot of node operators getting even more frustrated. To be fair, though, the core team is likely on an extended vacation for the holidays right now. That's my guess. So I'm sure they're not extremely focused on this. Some of them may not even realize it's happening. But at the same time, I feel we definitely need better communication regardless of the time of year that we're in.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just want to add, I think that just a simple one sentence, if there's just an area they can post updates every day or every few hours, you just let people know what's going on, what we can expect in the next day or two, and how we can fix things. I think that will just go a long way in kind of settling some people's nerves. I know operating NFTZ, we're having some issues with the NFTs that are being minted and some of the auctions, and it kind of falls back on the node, but it's also out of the node operator's hands. So it's a kind of a bad situation for node operators.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing this from a lot of different node operators. They kind of feel like the community is getting frustrated with them, but there's not really anything they can do. To be fair, though, the core team last night, according to M. Van Halen, they did do some sort of hot fix and logging updates. So they are working on something. It's just we don't know exactly what's going on. Uh, we're still apparently having a slowdown in the block mining. Missing transactions just took place, I believe, even just like half an hour before we recorded this video. Tyne, Stargazer, Striga, Brutal, and Van Halen, Conchi, Chermislav, Digdong, and many others have all been trying to figure out what's exactly going on, and they're reporting errors that they're seeing to the core team, mainly Natter, Emulsify, Lazy Nina, etc. Um, but these mempool issues are happening, and they're happening because these nodes don't match up. So hopefully it gets resolved. According to Stargazer, who made a post, over 562 users have been affected, and over 3,000 transactions have been dropped since December 18th. That's 2 days ago. So 3,000 transactions on Deso have been nullified. Sean Slater alone has lost 919 transactions. I believe these are all diamonds. Elric Ericos has lost 475 transactions, including some NFTs that he's minted. He does some really incredible photography NFTs. Also NFTs that he's transferred, or some NFTs that have been transferred to him. He's also lost some private messages, which is a bit concerning. Jay Hapey lost several NFT transactions and dozens of other transactions, and the list goes on. A lot of people are losing their transaction. There's some speculation that this has something to do with a hard fork. We do know a hard fork is scheduled I shouldn't say schedule, is in the forecast sometime soon, but I don't think it has to do with the hard fork. I could be wrong, but that's not my gut feeling. I think the community's also getting a little concerned about Salil Shah. So Salil was hired, and we really haven't heard too much from him. He's made a couple of posts talking about his hiring, what he plans on doing, but we haven't really heard too much from him. I think it's understandable that he does need time. He needs time. He needs to learn the ropes. He needs to get acquainted with the community, get acquainted with the Deso blockchain. But at the same time, I do think the community wants to hear from their new COO on a more consistent basis. Um, and I think the roadmap needs a refresh or an update. I know it seems like we just got it, but we've actually beaten a lot of the things on the roadmap. Some stuff was released before the roadmap predicted, but other things have not come on time. So I think perhaps in the beginning of next year we should hope that a new refreshed roadmap is released, updated with new time frames, what's happening, what's going on. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I believe Natter did say that there's going to be another roadmap coming sometime in January. Last we talked to him, and I think that that makes a lot of sense. Wait till the new year, but I do agree. I think communication needs to get better. I don't mean to be negative at all, but I mean just listening to some of the OGs on the blockchain when this stuff's happening, like with the uncertainty and just kind of try having to take the brunt of the criticism themselves when it's really it's really out of their hands. I think that's a problem. And Salil Shah, I'm sure he's overwhelmed taking a new position, something like this, learning everything, learning the ropes. I can't blame him too much for not being super active on D. So maybe that's not his style. Maybe his style is just working his butt off. Maybe it's not the communication aspects. Maybe that should be left up to somebody else. But it would be nice to hear from him more. And it's totally understandable that people within the community want to hear from him more.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on, Vindictive TJ, I want to congratulate him for winning the NFTZ Unicat Gold one of one Psycho Cyborg for 3.12 DSO. Really good deal, in my opinion. Uh, of course, we're going to have more of these coming over the course of the next few months. This is just the start of the NFTZ series, working with a lot of DSO NFT OG artists. But speaking of NFTZ, as you know, it's the only place where you can post and view live DSO auctions. You can just go to nftz.me/auctions to see those that are ending soon. There's not too many auctions up right now. A lot of these node issues have either made it difficult to post auctions or have kind of convinced people, hey, let's hold off for a few days to see what happens before I post an auction. But Art2Z, he has more DSO demons up and they're ending today, and definitely check those out. I love these. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of people holding off on posting NFTs right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think, people want to see consistency in the blockchain so that when they mint an NFT or buy or bid on an NFT, they're not going to lose that transaction.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to proof of stake. I think that's important, especially
Yep,
if it does what Natter says, because then these issues with syncing aren't really going to be a major concern if it's only a 3 second lag
exactly.
between things. But I want to quickly get the top 10 NFT bidders on the DeSo blockchain last day. So there are people bidding on NFTs despite some of these glitches, which is good to see. Boxer XXX, followed by Dragonstone, Mr. Music, Rhubarb, Regulian, Dr. Rob, Goosey's, Eat Green Apples, Hey Yang, and Trippy Rocket Man. And the top diamonded creators over the last 24 hours, thanks to our friends at Alton Base for this list, these people received the most diamonds or tips on their posts and replies on DSO over the last day. And Apertures led the way, followed by Weebos, Studio Richard, Stargazer, Pixel Angelo, Michelle Lord, Slava, Clout Women Unite, Skin Lover, and Now and Then.
Congratulations to his top diamond earners, and take a look at this list of upcoming DSO events that we have today. Thanks to Miss Katie Ann for providing the list as always. Everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.